You ever have one of those moments where life just stops and you realize something small changed everything? That's what happened when a little girl named Emma, barely 4 feet tall, walked into a shiny corporate office in downtown Chicago, holding her mom's resume like it was a treasure map. This wasn't just a kid wandering in, it was a kid on a mission, and man, did she shake things up. Let me take you back to that morning. Claire Thompson, Emma's mom, was lying in a hospital bed at Mercy General, fever spiking, her body weak, but her heart breaking even harder. She'd been prepping for weeks for a job interview at Larson Global, a big-deal tech firm that could have changed everything for her and Emma. Claire was a single mom, scraping by on waitressing shifts and late-night cleaning gigs, always smiling through the exhaustion so Emma could have new shoes or a second helping at dinner. But that morning, the phone call from Larson's HR was brutal as gold. No rescheduling, no exceptions. Your application's done if you don't show. Claire hung up, tears streaming, whispering to herself, I can't lose this. Emma deserves better than this. Her resume, tucked in a worn-out bag, sat next to a note she'd written, This job's our way out. In the corner of that sterile hospital room, Emma sat quietly, her big hazel eyes watching her mom's every move. She'd seen Claire skip meals, fix their broken fridge with duct tape, sing lullabies even when her voice shook from fatigue. And now, she saw her mom cry. That was enough. Emma didn't say a word. When Claire drifted off, knocked out by meds, Emma slipped off the chair, grabbed that resume, and put on her favorite yellow dress, the one with the tiny daisy buttons. She tiptoed out of the hospital, past nurses, past the busted coffee machine, and into the Chicago morning. A 4-year-old, clutching a folder bigger than her torso, walking through a city that didn't even notice her. She knew the bus number. Claire had pointed it out on a flyer stuck to their fridge. 40 minutes later, she stood in front of Larson Global's glass tower, took a deep breath, and marched in like she owned the place. Inside, the lobby was all marble and sharp suits, buzzing with the kind of energy that screams money. The receptionist, Jenny, looked up and froze. Hey, sweetie, she said, leaning over the counter. You lost? Emma shook her head, holding up the resume. I'm here for my mom's interview. She's sick, so I came instead. Jenny's jaw dropped. Your mom's interview? She stammered. Emma nodded, dead serious. Her name's Claire Thompson. She's really good. The lobby went quiet, heads turning, whispers starting. Jenny hit her earpiece. Mr. Larson? You need to see this. Like now. Upstairs, Ethan Larson, the 35-year-old CEO who'd built this empire from nothing, was sipping coffee, bored out of his mind with interview season. He was sharp, driven, but closed off, didn't do small talk, didn't do feelings. When his assistant said, You gotta come down, he rolled his eyes. What? Another Ivy League hotshot? Nope, she smirked, something way better. When Ethan stepped out of the elevator, there was Emma, standing in the middle of his lobby like a tiny warrior, yellow dress and all. You the boss? She asked, zero hesitation. He blinked. Yeah, kid, I'm the boss. She shoved the resume at him. This is my mom's. She's sick, but she needs this job. She's the best. The room held its breath. Ethan took the folder, smudged and crumpled, and for the first time in years, he smiled just a little, but real. Clear my schedule, he told Jenny, then looked at Emma. Let's talk. In the conference room, Emma climbed into a chair twice her size, feet dangling, and told Ethan everything: how Claire worked 3 jobs, how she never bought herself anything, how she cried when she thought Emma wasn't looking. She just wants to buy me ice cream on Saturdays, Emma said, her voice soft but sure. That's all she needs to be happy. Ethan leaned back, something cracking inside him. He'd grown up alone, foster homes, no family, building walls higher than his skyscraper. But this kid? She was tearing them down. Why'd you come here, Emma? He asked. She smiled. Because Mom was sad. And I want her to smile again. Ethan sent flowers to Claire's hospital room that day, with a note, to a woman stronger than anyone I've met. He invited her for an interview when she was better. When Claire showed up, still shaky but determined, Ethan saw the same fire he'd seen in Emma. Your kid's one hell of a reference, he said, grinning. Claire laughed, nervous, but something in his eyes made her feel seen, not pitied, but respected. Claire got the job, a real one, not some pity hire. She started small, a project assistant, but she worked like she had something to prove. Coworkers whispered at first she's the one with the kid, but Claire didn't care. She stayed late, learned fast, and soon, they weren't whispering anymore. They were asking her for help. Ethan watched it all, never hovering, but always there slipping her an extra lunch, making sure she had a seat at the table. And Emma? She became the office's sunshine, coloring in the break room, calling Ethan Uncle E, and stealing his cookies. Months later, one quiet evening, Emma looked up from her crayons and said, "Mom, can I call Uncle E Dad?" Claire froze, her heart pounding. Ethan, sitting nearby, went still, but his eyes were soft. "I'd be honored," he said, voice thick. And just like that, they weren't just a team anymore, they were family. A year later, at the company gala, Ethan stood up, glass in hand. "A little girl in a yellow dress walked into my life," he said, voice cracking, "and reminded me what matters." The room cheered, Claire's eyes shone, and Emma twirled in her sparkly shoes. They'd built something real, something lasting. But here's the thing, what would you have done? If you were Ethan, would you have taken that meeting? If you were Claire, could you keep going after all that loss? And what about Emma's courage? Where does a kid even get that? Drop a comment, tell me what hit you hardest, or share a time you saw someone fight for what mattered. Subscribe if you're all about these real, raw stories, because you never know when one might walk into your life and change everything.